Hi, welcome to Undead Yarn. My name is Heidi. You can find me as Undead Heidi at Twitter and also on Instagram. And I'm Knitty Girl elsewhere, like Ravelry and Etsy. And I think on YouTube I might be Knitty Girl 1. Anyways, good to see you guys. It's been a while. I almost podcasted last week, then I thought, nah, I'll just wait till I'll wait till I go back to work and get back in the swing of things. I gave myself a little bit of a break. So anyway, it's good to see you guys. First thing I want to start off with is hopefully, I don't know if I have everything here. I hope I do. I wanted to show you guys what I've been working on. And I do have a bunch of FOs to show, and unfortunately one of them was a gift, and so I don't have it anymore, so I won't be able to show you guys, but it is on my Instagram feed. Anyway, let me go ahead and show you what I've been working on. I have been working on, this past week, I've been working on my Wild Rumpus socks, and here's the yarn. You guys have seen that a lot. This is what it's looking like for me. Kind of like how it's doing a little random striping. It's pretty. It's on a sparkle. It's on the sparkle, the Twilight base. And I'm doing magic loop, and it's just my regular sock pattern that I use. Just cuff down sock with slip stitch heel flap. I like heel flaps. And let's see, what else was I working on? I am working on one other thing. Let me see if I have the project here. Hopefully it's in here. Yes, it is. Okay. Well, I started, since we're doing, this month is the Franciscan Gypsy pattern along, and so I started out going to try make a biddy, the baby turtle. I have this, and then I have some of my yarn that I dyed in a black. I was going to use these together, and I did start it. You can see I didn't rip it all the way out, but I got to a certain number of rounds and it was not looking right. I'm also not sure I was putting the black in at the right times, because I know the black is supposed to be for the eyes and they were not matching up with each other. And then I got to a round, it said I was supposed to have 30 stitches, and I think I had like 15. So, and I also have forgotten, in this pattern you're supposed to go through the back loop, and I didn't do that until maybe the third round. So anyway, I think these instructions are a little complicated for me. I think I could do it, but it's not something I can do while I'm just watching Netflix, which is what I like to do when I relax. So I may try to go back and make it again, but since I was having trouble with that, I figured that didn't look like a difficult pattern, and I was having trouble with that. I decided I would go to knitting because, you know, more advanced in my knitting. I have actually crocheted. I crocheted a shawl or two that were intermediate to advanced, but it's been a really long time. I will have to say I've neglected my crochet, and now I remember what all the stitches are now. I do have to sometimes look them up because I don't crochet as much as I used to, which is my fault. So anyway, I've decided to work on the knitting pattern, and she has a really cute pattern for a cowl, and it's called the Duke, and I'm pretty sure that's a Western reference. I don't really watch Westerns, but I think maybe it was John Wayne. Somebody was called the Duke. I don't remember who. Maybe you can tell me, Talia. Anyway, I started, that looks pretty good too. I started knitting the cowl called the Duke, and I'm having fun with it because it's been a while since I've done cables, and there are cables in this, but there's not a lot. It's just one cable up the front and one cable down the back, and so I'm really actually enjoying it. And I found something that I think is awesome for a cable needle. I've done the knitting without the cable needle, and I always somehow end up screwing up the stitches. I have trouble with remembering how to do them so that it's towards the front or towards the back. and so mine were always turning out one way, so I kind of gave up on that. I'll probably try it again sometime, but I kind of gave up on using that technique. So I used, because this is all I had, I couldn't find my DPNs. Usually I use DPNs. I used this crochet hook for it, and it was so awesome because the stitches could not slip off. Plus, this is plastic instead of, normally most of my crochet hooks are metal. I do have some wooden ones, but because it's not metal, it doesn't slide very much because it's, you know, it's plastic, and then it can't come off. If you get it towards this end, there's no way it's slipping off. So this, I love using this for a cable needle. Somebody's probably going to tell me that's terrible, but I say if you need, you want to try something new for a cable, for a cable needle, I recommend using a crochet hook. It works great, and the stitches don't come off. Like I said, I love using this. So anyway, that's my tip for the week. I really like this. This is my colorway, my Christmas colorway. I had one or two that I had done on DK, and I didn't split the skein. I just did a red, and I never got around to putting them up. Well, I kind of knew I was going to keep at least one of them, so I didn't get around to putting it up. This is my DK weight base, and this is the Grinch colorway. It is red with green speckles. When you look at it, though, when you get it, because the red is so dark, sometimes it's not, the speckles aren't quite green. They look more brown or black, but I am enjoying this. I like the way it's working up, and like I said, I'm really, really enjoying this. Looks great. That's how the color looks. I'm really enjoying doing cables again. And I have that in my Molly Klein Designs bag because even though Christmas is over, I just think this is the cutest bag. And I love this. She has a ribbon on the end. And look, the inside is, it's like kind of reversible. It's green and red, and then on the inside it's red and green. And it has a little jingle bell, so every time I use the zipper it jingles. I like that. So that is those are the only two things I've been working on. I'm trying to not commit to too much right now. I really, really, really want to cast on a lot of things, but maybe I'll take a picture and post on Instagram. You guys, it's crazy how many bags with projects in them I have around me. And they're not all whips. Some of them are, because I went through them once, and they're not all whips. Some of them are just projects waiting to go. There's not enough time. So I'm trying to limit what I'm knitting on and not cast on anything new because I already have so many whips around me, and I don't want to rip them out. I really like most of them, so there may be one or two I might rip out, but really most of them I want to do. I just don't know when I'm going to get to them. Okay, that's enough for that. Let me show you my finished objects. I love vacation. Isn't vacation awesome? That was the best vacation. I got 4 things finished. I was so excited. And most of them I started on the vacation too. Well, this one I started on the vacation. This one you guys probably haven't seen before. This is, I wanted to knit with my sport weight yarn shawl because I've only knit socks with the sport weight, so I wanted to try a sport weight shawl because I've noticed there are a lot of them. So I dyed some yarn and kind of speckle dyed it. I think this reminds me of Christmas lights because it's a gold with red, and that's exactly what it looks like. It's a gold with red and green on it. And I've wanted an easy pattern. And this is called the Big Blue because the person used blue yarn, and I think they wanted to name it after the ocean or something. I can't remember exactly what the story was, but it was all blue. Their yarn was all blue. But I saw the pattern and I could tell it was an easy pattern. It is a very easy pattern. If you're a brand new knitter, this is the perfect pattern for you. The person who wrote the pattern is Meg Gadsby. So, and I think it was in my library. I think it's a free pattern, but maybe not. It was one I already had in my library because I was trying to just go with what I already had. So anyway, I really like it. It's very simple. You can see it's just a plain old bind off. When I bind off shawls, I always do knit 1, knit 2 through the back loop so that it's a stretchy bind off, because I find the regular bind off is too, if you just do a regular bind off, it doesn't look good on shawls. It tends to pull the stitches in, and it doesn't look that great. So that's my favorite bind off for shawls. And anyway, I just love it. And I don't have to block it because it's all garter stitch. You can block garter stitch, but I don't think garter stitch stays blocked that long. So anyway, it's a good size. I used 2 full skeins of my witch base, and this was just a roadkill. I just dyed this up to try the sport weight yarn, and I love it. It's another one I can wear. What else did I finish? Oh, I meant to bring some sock blockers. Let me go get my sock blockers. I'll be right back. I have some right here. Okay. I have a couple of sock blockers. I have to find my wooden ones. I got some really nice wooden ones at the Into the Wool Fiber Retreat, but I don't know where I put them. I have to find them. They were by JD's Yarn Crafts. Okay, these were the Afterthought Everything socks, and the pattern writer is Erica Kemp Boughton. I thought it was a fabulous idea, so I decided that I would use, I was already knitting with this yarn, but I hadn't gotten very far, so I decided I would go ahead and make these. I guess I should have checked, well, I guess I didn't check to see. The reason I decided to go with this is I was watching Andrews Who Knits with Melissa from Spicy Homemaker, and Melissa talked about an Afterthought Everything sock, and it looks so cool. It's just a big long tube with waste yarn in it, and you take it apart and then you make your socks. And so I was already knitting with Franciscan Gypsy Creations. Not Franciscan Gypsy. Her mom does, Franciscan Gypsy does patterns, and her mom dyes yarn. Lady Furnico Creations. I was already knitting with this yarn, and I can't remember what the colorway was. Maybe she can tell me. But there are 2 socks here, and I love the way they came out. They look great, and I posted these in the Spicy Homemakers podcast group because she is having a Afterthought Everything along. So if you decide, I'm not sure how long it's running. I want to say it's sometime this month it's going to end, but I don't remember. Anyway, I posted these there. These are finished. There's FO number 2. And FO number 3 I don't have. I made the plain white mittens by Marianne Lind, and I used fiber from that. I used actually my hand spun, so I told him these are extra special with love because I spun them and I knit them, and I'm so jealous because they're so warm. And I knit them out of my hand spun. That was a Cormo border. Cormo Leicester, I think I wrote it down. Cormo Border Leicester mix, and it was one of the prize-winning fleeces that dyedinthewool.biz had, and I loved it. I loved spinning it. It felt so nice. It was it had lanolin still in it, and I really enjoyed spinning it like that. I know not everybody does, but it felt so nice on my hands. I enjoyed it. Oh, by the way, if you have not gone to dyedinthewool.biz and you like to spin and you like to try different breeds, I highly recommend their stuff. They pick very good fleeces to sell, and the stuff is really amazing. And I bought some more. I think I showed you guys. I bought some more from them, and I have not spun it yet. It was a Lincoln, I think a Lincoln long wool, and she said it would be good for socks. And, you know, that's mostly what I knit is socks and shawls. So, anyway, go check out her yarn shop, or her shop. It's not Etsy. The ending is .biz. But she also has a podcast called the Fiber Pusher Podcast, and I really enjoy her podcast because I learn a lot from her. She not only is into the fleeces and, you know, preparing fleeces, she also does natural dyeing, and she did a tutorial on weaving, and she just is a wealth of knowledge, so I would highly recommend her podcast too if you're interested in expanding your fiber arts knowledge. So that's FO number 2, and my tangent, what, number 3, 4, I don't know. That was FO number 3 I was just talking about, were my husband's socks. And then this one, I started these during Thanksgiving. I cast them on the night that the Gilmore Girls extra episodes came out, which I loved. I really loved them. But I will tell you, I was so frustrated with Rory's character by the end of that. I was like, really? Come on. You're 30 years old and you're still acting like this. At least your mom had an excuse. She was 16 when she made these mistakes. Okay, I won't go off on a tangent with that, because they're not real people. Anyway, this is the colorway from Spartacus Dyes, and it's from one of her, she's not dyeing anymore, I don't think, but it was from when she had the Gilmore Girls Club, and this was her Will and Grace sock, and I just adore this colorway. These colors go so well together. I almost thought they would be good for a guy, but my husband said he wouldn't wear them because of the orange, so I guess he's not he really likes orange, but he just said I wouldn't wear those socks because of the orange. But I love these socks, and the colorway is called Cujo, Benji, or Lassie. Made sure I went and looked it up. It's Cujo, Benji, or Lassie. And the way she had done it was you got quotes for her club, and that was one of the quotes from one of the episodes. So you would pick your color. You got to pick basically what colors you wanted. So I love these, and now finally I can wear these. I've been waiting to wear these and to wear these until I show them on the podcast, so now I can wear them. Yay! Okay, that's done. In review, we went to Florida for Christmas to visit my in-laws, and we had a really nice time. It was pretty relaxing. Just hang out with small groups of people, and they had a little party on Christmas Day, and we all went out to dinner on Christmas Eve. I got some nice gifts from them. That was very sweet. One of them I wanted to show you guys. I've started reading it, and it's an older book, but I had it on my Amazon wish list. They got it for me, which was really nice. It's called Synthetic Natural Fibers by Linda Knudsen. And I'm finding this interesting. Some of the parts I skipped over, but because it said why become a dyer, and I'm already a dyer, so. But it's interesting because it talks about the chemistry. So far, it's been talking about the chemistry of how they make their dyes and why they have certain labels, what the labels mean, which is really cool because I didn't know that. It is an older book. It was written in 1986, and the interesting thing is, in here she says, so I don't know about in the 80s, because right now I think there's a lot of books out about using acid dyes, but she said in here that most of the books were on natural dyes, so maybe that is just an up-and-coming thing. I don't know. I don't know the history of when all these dyes started being manufactured and started being used by home dyers. I know indie dyers have been around for a long time, so I'm not sure. But she said that she wanted to write a book about acid dyes because she didn't feel like there was really that much material available. But I'm enjoying this because it's got some info that I didn't know, and I was not big on chemistry when I took the class. I really just wanted to get it over with. So now that I'm older and I have more, I try to broaden my interests. I think when you're younger, you're only interested in certain things. I hated crafting when I was a kid. I'm unlike a lot of other people that do knitting and stuff. They all say they loved it. I hated it. My mom would sign me up for it. I hated it. My mom did it. She wanted me to do it. And who knows, maybe that's why I rebelled against all of that stuff. But I had no idea I would even be interested in knitting or anything like that back then. So, of course, I didn't pay much attention. And chemistry was not easy. For me, at least. It didn't come naturally. So I'm enjoying this book, and it's giving me info that I didn't have before. So I wanted to point that one out to you in case any of you guys are interested in any of that stuff. But I know it's a little nerdy, but some of you guys might be interested in that. Anyway, that was one of my gifts that I got. And I also got a natural dye book, but it's not anything unusual. It's just, I think it's a book that a lot of people already have heard about. So, oh, I don't know if I mentioned that I got a new car. Yay! I love my new car. I can't remember if I mentioned it on the last podcast. I didn't even bother to go back and look, so I don't remember if I talked about it or not. But I got a Toyota RAV4. I love it. It's a really great size, and it's got all the upgrades that my old car didn't have, because my old car was 1994, so there was no Bluetooth or XM radio or any of that stuff, or no HD channels on the radio. I love my new car. And there's, you can even, there's a little box so you can see when you back up. And you guys are probably all like, you are out of contact with, get with the times. But that's where my car and my husband's car were. I mean, we keep our cars for a long time, so ours didn't have all the new upgrades. I'm also very happy that it has if I run out of room, I bought the bigger car for going to shows, and if I run out of room in the back, I was very happy that it has a rack on the top. I actually specifically bought the car, well, partly that was part of the reason I wanted that car, but I was very glad to find one that had a rack on the top, so that way if I need even more room I can put it on top. I don't really want to be pulling a trailer. I know a lot of people do, but I'm just not interested in doing that. I think, to me, that I don't think I'd be good at it, put it that way. Okay, anyway, let's move on. This month, yes, we are doing a designer along. First month is Franciscan Gypsy Designs. She mostly does toys, and they're mostly crochet. So I'm hoping that some of you crocheters will come and be a part of it. I've written in the instructions, you can use anything that you're already, if you already were working on one of her designs, you can go ahead and enter that. It doesn't have to be something that you're just starting now, but since it's a toy, and I think you can probably finish a toy in a month, I'm going to have an FO thread. There is also a chatter thread, and if you are on Instagram and you start a project, you don't have to finish it. You can just post it on Instagram and tag it with Undead DAL, and that stands for Undead Designer Along. So if you want to go ahead and tag that, your projects on Instagram, I will be pulling for a $7 or less pattern from the people who post on Instagram. And then in the thread I'm going to be giving away, let's see, did I bring it over? If you use Undead yarn and you finish your project, I will be giving away a skein of Haute yarn that I know is very popular. Sorry for the crinkling, but I'm going to take it out of the bag since I'm going to pass it on to you guys. It's really pretty. It's 50% merino, 50% tencel, which is not a base I'm familiar with. And it's hand painted. It's really pretty. It's got lots of different colors in it. So this will be the prize for somebody who uses Undead yarn to crochet one of her toys. Or if you want to knit the Duke with one of my yarns, that's great. You could do that too. So, and then I'm going to give away one of Franciscan Gypsy Designs patterns to somebody in the FO thread, and I believe Talia is going to as well. So that's the designer along for the month of January. And next podcast, I'll talk about the designer along for the later months. I wanted to show you guys a yarn that I dyed because I was very sad when I heard that that George Michael passed away. I was so in love with him when I was 14. Oh my gosh. And it's so interesting because back then all the boys were, you know, of course they got jealous of Duran Duran and Wham, because all of us little teeny bopper girls loved them. And they would say, "Oh, George Michael is gay." And I would say, "No, he's not." It's funny, they actually were right. Didn't matter though. He still is cute. He's still a really good looking guy. Anyway, I decided to make a colorway out of, I don't know if it's coming out. It's not really coming out as gorgeous as it is. This is called Club Tropicana, and I don't think you can see the colors as well. Kind of see them back here. But it's blues, greens, and with pops of orange. And I kept this one for myself. It was on my merino silk base, which it's funny, it's not a big seller, but I love it, so I'm keeping it. And I just won't buy as much of it, but I do have some people who really like it. I guess you guys maybe aren't big shawl knitters. Most people want merino nylon or 100% superwash wool. Anyway, though, I love the way it came out on this base, so I kept this one. I'm dyeing some more today, though, and I will be dyeing more of the Club Tropicana colorway and putting some more up in the shop. And mentioning the shop, I also have discounted all the lace weight yarn and the alpaca silk because they were not moving. So I've discounted them, and if you want to go look, if you want some lace weight or you want to try a merino alpaca silk blend, it is luxurious. I love it, but I'm thinking that's why people didn't buy it. Maybe they're not into luxury yarns. So it's all the way down to $25, and I started at $35. Really should have started at $40. So anyway, if you are wanting to try it, I think there might be 1 or 2 skeins left. I'm not sure. Anyway, Club Tropicana, that will be going up soon. What else did I want to show you guys? Oh, I do have one thing for enabling. I know I bought more, but this is all I have over here right now. So I'll show the other stuff as I come across it, and I'll make sure I throw it in. I have a little bin that I keep all my podcasting stuff in. This is from Lisa of Fiber Nymph Dye Works, and it is oops, I have it upside down. Here it is. It's Nyan Cat on a sock blank. I've never been able to get Nyan Cat, and I know this probably won't knit up exactly like it, but it's going to be fairly similar, and I love that colorway. And I love Lisa's yarn. I just think she is very, very talented. She has such unique ideas for dyeing. I mean, inversibles. That is like the coolest thing ever. And I've got a bunch of them. I just haven't knit with them, and I'm kind of saving them. Anyway, that's the only thing I have with me right now for enabling. I did want to talk a little bit about what I was reading. I did get a bunch of books finished too, so I even surpassed my goal on Goodreads this year because I got a lot of reading done also during vacation. I'm telling you, I wish we had more of these vacations. I read, the ones I wanted to mention was I read Slice Harvester by Colin Hagendorf. I didn't write that down very well. I can't read my own handwriting. And that one was something I don't normally read a lot of nonfiction, but I heard about this on bookriotpodcast.com. I think it was either Book Riot or there's all the books. It was probably all the books because they're the ones that go over books. And they recommended this, and when they started talking about it, I was like, that is so up my alley. I would love to hear that because, number one, I love pizza. it's about pizza. And number 2, I love punk, and it's about a punk rocker who tried all the pizzas in New York City. And I also was drawn into it because he talks about himself too, so you kind of hear some of his trials and tribulations. He has problems with alcohol and drugs and relationships. So it's I don't know. I was drawn to it mostly because of the pizza and the punk rock. And I also thought it'd be fun to hear about New York City as well. So anyway, I enjoyed it. It was a good read. The other book I read that I really liked was one that had been recommended to me by several people, and finally I sat down and read it. And it's called Magic Bites, and it's by Ilona Andrews. And it was amazing. It has so many different kinds of supernatural characters in it that I love. And she has magical powers. I don't remember. Isn't that weird? As I get older, I seem to forget things quicker. Because I didn't read it that long ago, but I'm trying to remember what kind of magical powers she has, and I can't remember. But anyway, if you like supernatural and you like badass women, I would recommend this book. It's really good. It was enjoyable, fast-paced, and fun. I liked it. And then I also wanted to mention that my friend Ninja Chickens has started a podcast, and you should go watch it because she is so awesome. She is a dyer, and she uses natural dyes. She knows a lot about plants, and I think I showed y'all one of her sock blanks that I haven't knit up yet. She does eco-dyeing sock blanks, and it's really cool because she uses leaves and stuff, and she shows on her podcast how she does that. And I told her I am really looking forward to hearing more about natural dyeing. I haven't done it myself. I know I will do it at some point. Probably not stuff that I would put in the shop. I would just be doing it to experiment and to see what it's like. But I'm really interested in that. So, and she has some amazing patterns. If you remember back last year when we had the shawl along, she had donated that amazing pattern that had the brioche down the middle. It was a beautiful, huge shawl. And at some point, I hope to knit that. Like I said, there's so many patterns I want to knit, and I just don't have enough hands or time. I also got out my knitting machine. I don't know if I mentioned that I had bought one. I think I did. It's a Brother machine, and I bought it on eBay, and I, of course, was enabled by Andre Sunitz, who did all the stuff with her knitting machine. And I actually set it up, and I found out all the parts are there. I wasn't able to start using it yet, though, because I needed a sponge bar, which, by the way, somebody told me that foam insulation is the same thing. So I went to the hardware store and bought some. I haven't put it in yet, but I think it'll fit. And it looks the same as what's inside the machine. So if you get a used knitting machine, apparently the sponge bar is usually all messed up and you need a new one anyway. So yeah, I started figuring out how to use it. I don't know when I will get back to it, but I am very excited to be maybe knitting sweaters. I bought it initially to make sock blanks. I don't think I'm going to rush into that, but I would really love to be able to knit a sweater on that machine if it's as easy as it sounds. I know there's going to be a learning curve for learning the machine, but it sounds like it would be a lot easier and faster than just knitting with 2 needles. So I think that's all I wanted to mention. I haven't watched anything. Oh, I do want to mention, if you have not seen The Magicians, you should go watch it. It's on Netflix now, and it's so awesome. It's just like the books. It's not exactly like the books. There definitely are takeoffs in the storyline, which I really kind of like when they do that. They did that with the Shadowhunter series on television. It's different from the books, and The Magicians, it's very faithful to the book, but there are a lot of different things happening in it that don't happen in the book, and I really am enjoying it. I really want to watch the rest of them. That, and I've started watching the originals, and I love the originals. If you like vampires, if you like vampires that are not sparkly, you should watch the originals. It's excellent. It's set in New Orleans. The characters are tough characters. They're very scary. They're supposed to be the original vampires. And I just love it. The acting is excellent. It's a very good series if you like that kind of thing. I think that is all that I need to talk about today. I did also watch Luke Cage. We watched the whole thing, Anthony and I. We loved it. It's a Marvel-based series, and it's connected to Jessica Jones. So if you like Jessica Jones, the character that she was involved with is Luke Cage, and Luke Cage has his own series, and it was just as good as Jessica Jones, I think. So those are some of my recommendations, and go watch Ninja Chickens and get your Franciscan Gypsy designs started, and don't forget you can tag it with Undead DAL. And with that, I'm going to say get busy knitting or get busy dying.